Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? So if you're watching this for the first time, my name is Marianne. I'm the owner and the counsellor at Marianne Hanson Counselling Service. And as you know, throughout the year, I'm going to do book reviews. And today's book is called The New Rules, The Dating Do's and Don'ts for the Digital Generation. So this is a second version of this book because the original book is just called The Rules, and that covers everything else. But this one is specifically incorporating like online dating, and it's a really thick book, as you can see. I do like the book. I liked the original as well. I think when the original came out, like many years, over 20 years ago, I think it was like really revolutionary because it was talking about the rules of, it's very traditional, and I think a lot of people, you either love it or hate it. Some people thought it's, old fashioned because it's telling women to never to approach a man, and men have to pay and men have to pursue the woman. But I like it because I just think it doesn't get old. And what I've done is I've not taken loads of notes from this book because I just think the whole book itself has got some really interesting like topics in there. So some of the things it talks about is a guy should never visit you first. If you're in a long distance relationship, the man should be inconvenienced. Otherwise, how do you know if he likes you or not? So I've been in quite a few long distance relationships, and to be fair, I've either met the person halfway, so we've met in between. They've definitely visited me first, maybe 2 or 3 times, and then I've gone to visit them. I don't think it makes a difference. I wouldn't say that that's one of the rules where it makes like loads of difference, because I think even if that person comes to visit you first, if you have a good date, then that's fine, and then you go and visit them. I think it still depends on whether you like each other enough to say that you're going to commit to each other. But I do get what she's trying to say. It's basically about a man should feel inconvenienced. He should be the one that's making more effort. So one of the rules, rule number 22, there's loads of rules in there, but rule 22 is called buyer beware. And that talks about watching out for red flags and for addicts. Red flags including people who are addicted, so addicts, guys that don't commit or ask you out on a Saturday night, guys that cancel, guys that want to be friends. So it's talking about the rules are about getting a guy with good character who you can trust. And I think it all depends on what angle you're coming from as a person. If you read this book and you just read it as gospel and you just think, right, I got to just look at all these rules, and then that's how I've got to live my life, and that's how I've got to date someone and all the rest of it. But I don't really look at it like that. I see it as being a guide to try and help people figure out what are some key rules that you can put in place to find the right person, and also just some key rules about dating. So that buyer beware rule is just things that most people tell you anyway about red flags. Anyone who has like addictions and stuff, how that's going to impact on the relationship. People who keep cancelling on you, then that's kind of a red flag anyway. And then it talks about as well that men have a type. So you might not be that person's type, so it's better to let them pursue you. So this one I definitely agree with. I think the society that we're living in now, especially social media, and you've got lots of dating apps and you've got TV, they're convincing women that we should be being confident means you walk across the room and you approach a man and you tell him how much you fancy him. Or if a man has got a girlfriend already, then it's still competition and you can steal this man away from it. There's lots of things that are making women feel that we have to do the chasing. But my mum said this, and I still believe in this, that men, they know what they want, and they'll do if a man is not interested in you, they'll still probably talk to you. They'll probably even still have sex with you, but they're deep down, if you're not the person they want, because they know what preference they have, then you're gonna just be a stopgap. You're going to be a person they're going to date until they find what they really want. So you can cut that out a little bit by not doing too much. You don't have to stand in front of a man like half naked and present yourself to him, or be the one that's texting all the time, or reach out to someone on Facebook, or go into someone's DMs. I think personally you can do that if you feel you want to do that. But if someone knows you exist or you're present and they've seen you, then that should be enough. They should be the ones that are saying, oh, I've seen this person, or I've heard this person I'm speaking. So I'm so interested that I've got to reach out. So that's what really it's trying to say. So in fact, this is the third edition of the book, because there was the rules, I've just realised, then there was one called the updated rules, and then this is the third edition, which is the digital rules for digital dating. There's 34 chapters. So there's some of the chapters include things like playing hard to get. Yeah, it talks about playing hard to get. The rules are a way of acting around a guy. I'm making notes. I don't even know what my notes are saying. So it talks about guys love a challenge and they lose interest when anything is too easy. It gives you, there's a chapter on men and women are not the same romantically. So women love security, men love a challenge. Men are visual and they know what they like. Physical attraction is a big thing for a man. It talks about women are more emotional. They get love, they fall in love, and then they get swept away by a man's personality. So it's talking about don't speak to a man first, don't ask him out, don't accept last minute dates, don't see him too often. It can feel like the rules is just lots of things, don't do this, don't do that. And I think for most people, they wouldn't be able to live by those rules or just accept them as they are. I personally don't think I could, not in that like strict way, but I do think a lot of the rules that are in the books, these rules, make sense. Now, the two women who wrote the book, they were friends, I think they were college friends. They wrote the book to help like some of their friends around them, who specifically for single women. And I think over the years, as their daughters are in the this edition of the book, so they're daughters of the new generation. That's why all the stuff, there's a chapter specifically for online dating and for like digital. If you're communicating with someone on Facebook or on social media, there's chapters in there about that as well. So there's lots of case studies as well. The case studies in this book are really good because they give example of the person. They give example of the person, what that person did, so the behaviour, and they talk about what the person should have done if it didn't like go with the rules. So it's saying that the rules are an ageless, timeless recipe for romantic relationships. If you follow the rules, you will get a guy that's crazy about you. So you won't get a guy that is just with you because they're settling, or a guy that is with you because you pursued them. What they're trying to say really is that if you put rules in place as a woman, because it is specifically written for women, that mean that this guy sees you as a prize because he's had to work for you, he's had to make the effort to reach out for you. You've been mysterious. So some of the rules in there are don't write to guys first, ignore winks. This is an online one. Ignore things like winks and other rules. So rule 18 is don't write to guys first, ignore winks and other rules for online dating. So it's things about anyone can just put a wink or a kiss emoji on an online dating site. It takes no effort. It's just nothing. So what they're trying to say is that if you put a good profile, if you have a good like nickname, a good like tagline, and just keep it simple, then really the men should come to you, but also you should give 4 exchanges and then take it offline. I believe in that one. I don't even think 4. Like personally, if the people that I've met online in past relationships, after we've spoken 3 times and they're doing this whole thing where it's like, how many brothers and sisters do you have? What's your favourite colour? Where did you go to school? What do you do for a living? I'm like, do you know what? After like 2 sets of, after they've asked me so many things, I'll just say, if you want to know more, you can meet me in person. We can go on a date and then you can ask. Because it doesn't matter if you give everything online about yourself, unless you meet in person and you see what the energy's like, unless you get to actually be in someone's company, then a lot of times you can't really form a proper opinion. I know there are people out there that fall in love speaking to people online. There's even people who speak online for like months, years, people who even get engaged without meeting someone or without properly knowing the person. That's up to them, but I just think that this is a really good rule about, first of all, don't write to the guy first if you are on these dating sites. Let that guy choose you, let him select you, let him pick you out. It's just a natural theory that men are the pursuers, and that's how they should be, because they know what they want. They see the woman that they want and then they go after it. So, excuse me, so that's important. So other things from the book, I've just made a few other notes. Another rule was, this was in all of the books really, is about being a creature unlike any other. So it's not about you being the prettiest or the most popular, but it's about confidence in your self-esteem. So no matter what's going on in your life, it's about dating with dignity, not being desperate. You're not cynical, negative, anxious, jealous. You walk into a club like you own the place. You know, you are being a creature like no other, it says, is about doing the best with what you have, not wishing you were someone else or comparing yourself. Because it's not about the prettiest person, or it's about you looking at yourself and being the best version of who you can be. If you're that person, then you'll find that right person for you, because they'll say there's something about her, there's something about that person. I don't know what it is. It's just, I just need to know more, or I need to be around that person. And I believe in that one. I definitely believe that's true. Other rules are, don't talk too much in the first few weeks when you're dating someone. Don't give everything away, like tell them your life story. Don't introduce a guy to anyone first. It's up to them to introduce you to people. Wait before you sleep with a guy. Stop dating a guy who cancels more than once. Don't pay for dinner or buy his love in any way. Don't accept booty calls or meaningless hookups. Don't date indefinitely without commitment. And then there's a rule that says go to the gym, and other rules for looking good at any age. So what I've put, really, I've given this book 7.5 out of 10. And the reason for that is because I think even though it seems old-fashioned, I enjoyed the book because I believe in some of the rules, and I like the idea of people writing books which is like either a how-to or tips, or they're just trying to give information. You don't have to follow it. There's lots of people, I mean, it's a bestseller. These books are sold like millions, but it's divided, and that's the same as with any book, really. You don't have to enjoy it. You don't have to follow the rules. You don't have to believe everything they're saying is true, and I don't think I do that. But I just think it's really useful. And I do agree with a lot of the rules they're saying, because I just think to me, they make sense, but they won't make sense to everyone. So, as I've said, there's things to consider in the book. It's not like life-changing, so that's why it's got 7.5 out of 10, because I don't think it's one of those books where I've read and I've been like, yes, you know, there's so much in there that I'm going to implement, or it's the best book, it's blown my mind. But I think, you know, it's a good book, so I would recommend it. So The New Rules, the Dating Do's and Don'ts for the Digital Generation. It's by Ellen Fain and Sherry Schneider. I can never pronounce people's names. You can get the other version, the original rules. It used to be on YouTube. You used to be able to listen to the audiobook, but it's not on there. But there is lots of interviews on there about these women talking about the book and talking about some of the rules. So I hope you found it interesting. If you have, leave a comment. Let me know if you've read the book. Let me know what you think about the idea of having sets of rules for dating. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Feel free to share it with others. Thanks for watching. Bye.